Today we'll be looking at the formal ether sedimentation technique. And the formal ether sedimentation technique is a technique we use to concentrate parasites. And it gives you 100% concentration. Any parasite that is present in the sample we're going to examine will be concentrated in this technique. So there won't be a situation that maybe the specific gravity is higher than that of the medium, so it will not float, and maybe sedimentation will miss it out. Here, so it's the best technique actually. The disadvantages are primarily the cost of the reagents. We are using 10% formal saline, and then we'll be using diethyl ether. So what we do is, these are the equipment we use. What we do is we add 2 grams of our fecal sample in a universal container, and then we measure 3 mils of our 10% formal saline using a measuring cylinder. I've measured 4 mils. Add the 4 mils of 10% formalin into the 2 grams of fecal sample and thoroughly break it, that is, homogenize it thoroughly. After homogenizing, we sieve into our test tube. Now, to the filtrate in the test tube, we add a further 3 mils of 10% formalin. You achieve that using your measuring cylinder. This is 3 mils. Gently add the 3 mils into the test tube. Giving you a total of 7 mils in the test tube. Now we take our ether, diethyl ether, be careful with ether. Ether is, the fumes can, easily cause, though it has a sweet smell, but make sure you don't inhale much of the fumes. Now we take 3 mils of the ether. Ether is best stored in a glass container. Measure 3 mils of the ether. This is 3 mils. Add to your test tube. Now you stopper the mouth of the test tube and then you shake vigorously. Stopper the test tube. You can do that with your gloved tongue. Shake very well. Shake thoroughly. And then we take it to the centrifuge and centrifuge at 2000 revolutions per minute for 5 minutes. Centrifuge, and we're going to centrifuge at 2000 revolutions per minute. So you just place your test tube. Make sure you have one that balances the one we're going to centrifuge. Cover the test tube, set it at 2000 revolutions per minute, and put the timer for 5 minutes. So it's 5 minutes now, and we are through with centrifugation. Now you will notice in the sample we have centrifuged, the ether is at the topmost layer, then we have a fecal plug just under the ether. This is 10% formalin. At the bottom of the test tube, it's a sediment which will contain our parasites. This was the one we used to balance. We gently decant everything, the ether, the fecal plug, the formalin, into a receptacle. Then using your pasture pipette, you just mix the sediments, pick the sediments, take your slide, make a smear on your slide, and then cover with cover slip. The smear should contain our parasites. And like I mentioned earlier on, every parasite that might be present in the feces will be concentrated. Thank you. Sedimentation technique is what I'm going to explain, what we just carried out. Now, what it involves, as we saw, the two reagents that are used in carrying out the technique are number one, 10% formaldehyde. We all know how to prepare 10% formaldehyde. We dilute formaldehyde with normal saline. We make it 10% dilution. So it's 10% formaldehyde. So for short, we say 10% formalin. Then we also use ether. Ether is an organic solvent. So what the formalin does is it kills any parasite there, whether it's zoonotic parasite or parasite that can attack you. It kills it, and it also preserves. We all know formaldehyde is a preservative. It preserves the morphology of the parasite, so the morphology does not change all through the period you're doing your work. Then the ether is an organic solvent, and what that means is that it emulsifies fat, it breaks down the fat, and just like the detergent removes oil from your clothes, the ether will remove any adherent oil. So we see that this technique is best for fecal samples that might contain oil, like human feces, like canine feces, feline feces, and all those kind of feces. So after, and like I mentioned, the good thing about the formal ether sedimentation technique is it concentrates all parasites. So whether the parasite it will not float or whatever, it's concentrated, and the oil that is removed forms as a plug just under the ether. We saw that in the practical session. So everything is removed, and the sediments where the parasite will be. Put the sediments on a slide and examine with your times 10 and times 40.